Here we are, you guys, the G82 M4 Competition. Now, don't be mistaken, this does have a CSL front end. This is not actually a CSL, but I get it. I guess that looks nice. It's just a bit deceiving. Very, very cool but weird redesign. The grille is just something you have to get used to. Under this hood is a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 engine that makes 503 horsepower and just over 470 pound-feet of torque. Now, this car does weigh 3,900 pounds, but that still allows it to do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and the quarter mile in 11.5 seconds. Those are very, very impressive numbers. The tires in the front are going to be 275 in width, and you're going to have 19-inch wheels right here. On the side, you're going to have a little black accent with an M4, and then of course competition. You gotta add the competition if it's a competition. And by the way, the competition means that you get 30 more horsepower because the engine is tuned just a bit differently. It also has a much better chassis, better suspension, and it's just a refined M4. Nice side skirt that runs along here. Moving along to the back, the tire width here is going to be 285, 20-inch wheels as well. Much smaller brakes, but again, they do the job. And in the back here, I also really love the redesign in the back. Excuse me, bird, can you please stop? M4 Competition badge. Again, always look for that competition under M4. This is on the CSL, but it's okay. I mean, it looks good. I don't know. That's a little bit iffy to put fake badging on a car. Please shut up. Thank you. You also have quad tip exhaust, and this is very unique because they're not off to the side. They're not in the center. They're in between. I think it looks really good, and they sound phenomenal too. So without further ado, let's hop in this thing, take a look at the interior, and take it for a drive. Oh, real quick, we got a pretty nice but standard door panel here. Very large door, by the way. This is a 2-door car, as are all M4s, but you do get back seats back here. This is a relatively large car. Remember, it weighs 3,900 pounds, so you could fit back seat passengers in there. It's just not going to be the most comfortable. M4 right on the door sill here looks very nice. And the seats, oh gosh, these seats are just so cool. They're like cream colored, and it kind of matches the white, so it's like off-white. M4 right below your right on your headrest here. One of the weirdest but yet coolest designs on the center console. I really like how this material feels and looks. I've never seen anything like that on a car before. Steering wheel, pretty big and bulky. One thing we did not mention in the review are these little red M paddles, if that's what you want to call them, and that's just your presets depending on how you want the car to be set up. Let's go ahead and start it up. You hear the inline-6 in this car. I honestly just wish BMW had V8s or a V10, but now, you know, they cut those off a long time ago. However, a twin-turbo inline-6, it performs very well. That's just my taste. I love a V8 or a V10. We just got done reviewing the Lamborghini Huracan Evo Spider, so yeah, it's not gonna be like, you know, it's not gonna sound like that, but still. This is an absolutely incredible car, and they have a very unique sound. You'll listen to it in just a moment. Nice ambient lighting that runs across here, just a subtle touch. It's not trying to be a Mercedes, it's a BMW, but Mercedes and BMWs kind of share touches and features, but they are segmented very uniquely, which I think is cool. Of course, you have your selectable drive modes. You have your exhaust mode right here, so if you want to be quiet, you can, or you can be loud. And if you go to M mode, you can see you're able to select how you want your driving to be configured. This infotainment system feels pretty good. If we go to car, driving information, sport displays, we can see our live readings, horsepower and torque, which is very cool. Good amount to play around with in here. And also this has an energy flow mode. Have not played around with that yet. Let's go ahead and go for a drive, mess around with this thing and see how it feels and drives. Before I do though, one very weird thing are these shifters that BMW puts on here. Like, they just make it complicated for no reason. I mean, it's simple, but like drive, you go to the right, neutral, you go to the left, reverse, you go to the left and up. It's like it's a manual, but it's not. There's no park on here. Instead, you push a button to go into park. Very just weird. But once you use it, you'll get used to it, and it just becomes the new standard thing. But I don't know, I think it's just strange when cars try to overcomplicate things for no reason. All right, let's go ahead and go for a drive and see how it feels. All right, let's go ahead and start off with an acceleration here. Let's put it in sport mode, or yeah, sport mode, and let's see how it feels. Oh yeah, it definitely pulls. That was only about 4,000 RPM. Twin turbo, so it takes a second for it to kick in, but when it does, you definitely start moving. German horsepower numbers are always false, so when you hear 500, expect it to feel like 550. People have dynoed their M cars, and it always turns out to be higher than what BMW actually claims. Let's go in and do another pull real quick here. Let's go to second gear. Oh! Okay, that sounds pretty dang good. Way, way better than the F82 M4. I don't even have I have the windows up and it still sounded that good. Wow, that is a huge upgrade from the F82. Now the F82 felt very, very fast, which this one does as well, and they both feel equally as kind of squirmy. This one does just feel more balanced, relaxed, and controllable than the F82, but still, you know, you can drive this thing like a madman. I just feel like it has my back a bit more. The F82 was kind of scary to floor it and shift because it would lose traction too much and too quick, but this definitely feels, I don't know, more well balanced and engineered, which I am very happy to see. So considering you can find used examples for around $70,000–$80,000, is it worth it? I mean, it depends on who you are, what your taste is. I would love a V8, but I mean, this inline 6 really exceeded my expectations with how it sounds. Very pleased. Now, comparing it to American-made V8 cars, I mean, this interior is going to blow that out of the water, and we have somebody... Okay, good. I was afraid he was going to walk right in front of us. Yeah, BMWs are just more well-made, more well-engineered, and more reliable. However, if something does break, it's going to be a lot more costly. So that's something you have to consider when comparing this to, like, I don't know, a Mustang Dark Horse maybe, because those are on the same price point. They're both two doors. They're both sports cars. Have not driven a Dark Horse yet. I've done the 2024 GT, but this is gonna be it is so different from the GT. I imagine the Dark Horse is just gonna feel a little bit of a step up above the GT, but yeah, this thing is definitely in its own league, and in a good way, by the way. Yeah, that is very, very fast. And brakes, honestly, could be better. I didn't really get on them that hard, but I feel like you kind of gotta lay on the brakes to get this thing to stop. When you do lay on them, it will stop pretty fast. But I wish it was a bit more responsive and clamped on when the brakes were, you didn't have to push on them as hard. Mind you, again, this is a 3,900-pound car, so you have to consider that into the equation. So for how heavy this car is, I mean, I'd give these brakes maybe like a B. Yeah, I mean, 3,900 pounds is a pretty serious amount of weight to have to stop. Let's go ahead and hit the interstate route, and if we can, let's come to a stop and do a little launch. No launch control, just a standard brake boosting launch. Ready, set, go. Whoa, all right. It limits the power and then it comes on real quick when it knows it can grip. That is actually really awesome to feel, because you don't want to just like be all excited in first and second gear and then feel the power. You want to have the power keep coming the faster you go. So that is a very, very cool sort of engineering thing, if I can say that made any sense. Let's do a little pull right here. Man, this thing is, yeah, it can definitely get squirrely. The F82 M4 did not squirm out at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, but this one does. It's a comp as well, so over 500 horsepower. There's not much you can do. And the tires in the back, this is not the X-Drive. If you have the X-Drive, then you're gonna grip. I would honestly prefer this car in all-wheel drive for most cases. But a rear-wheel drive car is more of a fun, driver's-friendly car. Sometimes you just want to get loose, you want to get squirmy, and you can do burnouts and drifts, which makes it, you know, a lot more fun. Just, you know, if you're trying to do a fast, hard pull and get grip, not ideal. Tires in the back being 285 in width. I would ask for a fatter tire, maybe a 305 or 315, and that would probably solve the majority of the traction, well, not all of the traction issues, but it would help a lot with putting the power down in this thing. And again, you can just sit back in your seat, you know, do the 2-finger on the steering wheel thing. I can't be the only one that drives like this. And you just forget about all your problems. Get some ambient lighting touches, nice infotainment system, nice gauge cluster. Let's go ahead and throw it in road mode, and not a big noticeable change in the ride quality. But either way, whether you're in sport or road mode, I mean, the thing just cruises if you want it to, and it freaking moves if you want it to. That's what I love about these cars. It's kind of a nice mix of everything. If you want to cruise, you can. If you want to turn this into a track weapon, you can. If you want to corner it, you can. If you want to race somebody, you're probably going to win. If you want to have a nice interior, you do. This is very, very nice. And the sound, I mean, I am thoroughly impressed. The exhaust tips got a lot more aggressive looking, and, well, the sound did with it. So that's very, very good to see. That sounds a whole lot crazier, especially when you reach the red line. It gurgles, pops, roars all at the same time. That makes for a very, very interesting sound. That is really cool. Oh, yep, a little bit squirmy there. Oh my gosh! That is an awesome, awesome sound. The F82 M4 does not even come close to that. And in a car like this, I'm definitely going to be very cautious of putting the power down on a turn. I imagine you could drift a turn very easily if you got that experience and know how to handle that. But I would only try that in my own car and on a closed course. Those bangs are unmatched. Wow. The redline sound in this thing is actually better than almost all other cars that I've driven before. Holy moly. I've never been a fan of the twin turbo inline 6 until now. This has made me genuinely a fan of it. I've liked it, I've appreciated it, but I've never said I really want the inline 6 twin turbo. But this very well may have just changed my mind. Also, the clearance in this thing is going to be very nice, so I am not worried about going over something like this, which is good. Again, this is a really good daily car. It's an expensive daily car, but it's a really good daily car. Wow! Wow! The sound of that is incredible. Twice as good as the F82. That pop is so aggressive, I'm sure people can hear it from a mile behind you. Absolutely wild. And design-wise, what do you guys think about this? I mean, the more I see them, the more I look at them, the more I like them. The front end was just such a bold move by BMW, but honestly, it's kind of good. I don't know. I mean, the old ones, I feel like they did kind of need something to change, something to really stand out. And that grille, well, it definitely stands out. Whether it's in a good way or a bad way, that just depends on your own opinion. I honestly like this display more than the other one. I think this one's a lot more cool. Sport mode, I don't know. Why was sport mode? Just doesn't look that good to me. The other one I think is much more appealing. Now that it's getting a bit darker, you can really see the ambient lighting starting to shine. Of course, nowhere near on the level of Mercedes, but you don't want to be a copycat. This is just right in between. BMW is more performance, Mercedes is more luxury. And so BMW appeals to me more, if I'm being honest. I do really want to test out an AMG C63S though, because that's certainly a performance car. But again, just it's a Mercedes, so it's going to be a little bit more tailored to luxury. Let's go ahead and do a poll. Ready? That's going to be hard to get used to. That is fast in the fact that it's just uncontrollable enough. Again, more controllable, more kind of has your back and a bit more safe than the F82 from my experience. But still, it will scare you just a little bit. It'll let you have fun. It lets you know that there's not a traction system that's entirely blocking you from having fun. You could get this thing loose real easily if you want to. And this is with traction control on. So turn traction off and, well, say goodbye to this thing saving you too much, because even with traction on, it lets you get loose, it cuts it, but it cuts it just a little bit late, which I kind of like. Shifts are incredibly smooth when you want them to be. Very nice power delivery. I love how it's an all-in-one car. Now, if you want the four doors, of course, you get the G80 M3 or even F80 M3, F80 M4. Those are great cars too. This is just like $30,000 more. Is it worth the extra 30K? The sound is. The acceleration is not noticeable enough, in my opinion. Interior, yeah. Well, maybe like $15,000 more. I wouldn't say 25. Looks wise, that's all just subjective. I would argue I always love the newer car looks, so I would say, yep, that's probably worth it. All in all, I don't know. I'd say 20 grand would be probably the most I would want to spend. 20 grand more than an F80 or F82 that I'd want to spend on a G82. So it's very close there. It depends on how much money you have. In my case, I would get neither cars because, yeah, a lot of trunk space. Good amount of storage space. That's deeper than you would think. And of course, if you're not using the back seats to transport people, then you can use it for extra storage. Great daily car, great car to do pulls in, phenomenal exhaust sound to listen to. That really blows my mind how much better this thing sounds. And all in all, guys, for 70-80 grand, I'm gonna give this like a 7 out of 10. If it was all-wheel drive, I feel like this would be a 9 out of 10. The rear-wheel drive, when I'm just trying to accelerate fast, I don't know, holds it back a little bit for me. But I'm sure if I brought this out to a track, that rating could increase. But that's my rating for the time that I've spent with this car. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!